CyberPoint Commentary, presented by Schwartz Laser Eye Center.
A few days ago, the mayors of New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Denver, places that have stated they are sanctuary cities for migrants, sent a letter to President Biden in which they requested $5 billion instead of the proposed $1.4 billion in federal funding because, quote, our city budgets and local taxpayers bear the brunt of the massive wave of immigrants showing up in their cities. It didn't fall on deaf ears. Yesterday, the Biden administration gave Denver's and Chicago's mayors an audience with the White House Chief of Staff and Homeland Security Department officials before those mayors headed to Capitol Hill for meetings with lawmakers. When you have cities full of votes, I guess politicians pay attention to your pleas for money to deal with your city being full of migrants who have crossed your city limits. Not so much if you're dealing with massive amounts of migrants crossing your county line. A county line that also happens to be the border of the United States. And if you're a rural county like Cochise County, Arizona, which has a population that's less than 2% of New York City's, forget it. You're forgotten when it comes to federal funding. A couple of weeks ago, Cochise County Sheriff Mark Daniels told us about just one of the costs that his county incurs from migrants entering our country through his county into the U.S., which, as I already mentioned, has a tiny sliver of New York City's population.
The cost over the last 3 months for border-related incarcerations in Cochise County cost my taxpayers $1.2 million.
The millions the state of Arizona has provided to his county has made Sheriff Daniels, a Republican, show a lot of appreciation to Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs for that money and for paying close attention to our border issues because he feels like most Washington politicians don't care. Arizona senior U.S. Senator Kyrsten Sinema told Mike Broomhead that she wants the funding package for Israel to include money and policy changes for America's border with Mexico.
But now has increased national security implications as we know that bad actors from other parts of the world are seeking to enter the U.S. through the U.S.-Mexico border.
And for those who doubt that anybody crossing our border poses any kind of threat, the federal government's Immigration and Customs Enforcement just announced the arrest of a man believed to be a citizen of Senegal who was, quote, wanted by Senegalese authorities for criminal conspiracy in relation to a terrorist organization, destruction in relation to a terrorist organization, and, among other things, acts or preparatory acts aimed at compromising public safety or causing serious political troubles. The man was arrested in New York City, which may help make the big city mayor's case for more money for their cities, but this man was originally contacted by law enforcement in Arizona about 2 weeks prior when the U.S. Border Patrol encountered the non-citizen in the area of Monument Hill near Lukeville in Arizona. But because there are so many people crossing the border right now, officials simply processed him, served him with a notice to appear in an immigration court at a later date, and released him on his own recognizance. And it was a full week before Homeland Security investigations discovered that we let a man wanted for terroristic activities into America. I don't know where exactly all the dollars need to be spent, but I think applying a lot more to the border would mean having to apply a lot less in places like New York.